Bible Study. Whether you're tuning in at Twitter or Periscope at Bible Study Cam, whether you're on Facebook.com/Reflective Bible Study, whether you're on YouTube at The Online Preacher, or even if you're at the onlinepreacher.com/live, wherever you happen to be tuning in, whether it's one of those places or somewhere else, whether this is on live or on replay, I want to welcome you to this morning's online Bible study. And this morning we're going to be taking a few minutes and looking at Matthew chapter 9 verses 27 through 31 and focusing in on an amazing example of faith. And one that Jesus draws our attention to, but not as directly as he does in some other instances. There's some other events and miracles where Jesus applauds the people for their faith, but that doesn't happen here. But Jesus does subtly draw our attention onto this faith. So with that said, let's read this event and miracle. It's only about 5 verses long, and discover what we can learn about faith in this event. This is Matthew chapter 9. We're going to start in verse 27, and I'm going to read from the New American Standard Bible. As Jesus went on from there, 2 blind men followed him, crying out, "Have mercy on us, Son of David." When he entered the house, the blind men came up to him, and Jesus said to them, "Do you believe that I am able to do this?" They said to him, "Yes, Lord." Then he touched their eyes, saying, "It shall be done to you according to your faith." And their eyes were opened, and Jesus sternly warned them, "See that no one knows about this." But they went out and spread the news about him throughout all that land. It's amazing in my mind, and maybe a little humorous, you could say, that Jesus asks these men to keep quiet about what happened, and these guys, after Jesus had healed them, they do the exact opposite of what Jesus had just asked them to do. Jesus gives them this amazing gift, and then he says, "Hey, by the way, keep this gift quiet." And these guys are like, "Thanks for the gift, but absolutely not. We're going to tell everyone because we are so appreciative of what you've done for us." But it's amazing because in this event, we see a number of interesting aspects of faith present. First off, the faith of these guys, it was visible. These guys followed Jesus, crying out, "Have mercy on us, Son of David." That's in verse 27. And we don't know exactly how long these guys followed Jesus, but on the surface it might have appeared as though Jesus was ignoring them or just simply not hearing them. And so they kept on following after, "Have mercy on us, Son of David," without seeing much of a result. They persisted in their faith even though they didn't get an immediate response. And then after Jesus had entered the house, and after these guys had knocked on the door and, found the door and knocked on the door and made their way inside, they continue crying out, "Have mercy on us." And Jesus acknowledges them then. And he first asks, "Do you believe that I am able to do this?" Which is intriguing in my mind because the only reason that these guys are following Jesus and asking for mercy is because they believe. But this question, you could say, just draws our attention and everyone's attention onto the specific issue at hand. Jesus asks, "Do you believe that I am able to do this?" And they respond, and this is in verse 28. They said to him, "Yes, Lord." And what it's interesting is how Jesus responds and how he, you could say, performs the miracle after this. Because in verse 29, Jesus says, or Matthew tells us, that Jesus touched their eyes and Jesus said, "It shall be done to you according to your faith." Now it's interesting, these blind men, their faith was visible. They had been following Jesus. Their faith was persistent because it wouldn't take no for an answer. They kept on going, even though it seemed as though Jesus was ignoring them. And these guys had placed their faith in Jesus. And that's important and amazing to grasp, because those three aspects of faith are crucial, are important, are vital for faith to be worth anything. Granted, I guess I shouldn't say that, because faith is valuable in and of itself, even if it is not placed in Jesus. Faith in some accomplishment or being able to overcome some trial can get you through. However, faith, when it is placed in Jesus, is the only way that your faith can save you past the end of your life or the end of this world, whichever comes first. And that's important to pay attention to, because faith is powerful. Jesus tells these guys, hey, this miracle, what you're asking, will be done for you according to your faith. And Matthew tells us that as soon as Jesus said this, while he was touching their eyes were opened. They had the faith that was necessary to experience a miracle. And now it's interesting, because when Jesus sternly warns them, see that no one knows about this, on the surface, it does appear and sound like Jesus is telling them to keep quiet about this miracle. But it's also possible, as I was reading and studying this, that Jesus's challenge to them is that they should keep quiet about how powerful faith is. See that no one knows about this. This could be referring to the miracle, but this could also be referring to the incredible power of faith. And I could legitimately make a case for it being either one of these, or perhaps even a dual meaning of both. Because when we understand how powerful faith is, we would have a whole lot more faith in our lives. And that is something that is incredible to think about. Incredible to understand. But more than all of that is that when we have placed our faith in Jesus, in what he accomplished for us on the cross by taking the punishment for our sins onto himself, and that penalty for our sins, which was death, then our faith in Jesus is what saves us, because Jesus has saved us. And so that's what I wanted to share and draw our attention to this morning, and perhaps even remind us about faith. Faith in and of itself, regardless of where it is placed, is valuable. But faith, when it is placed in Jesus, is the most valuable faith you can have, because it is the only type and place for faith that can extend beyond sin, that can extend beyond this world, and that can lead into eternity. And so, with that said, thank you for tuning in, whether you're tuning in at Twitter or Periscope at Bible Study Cam, whether you're on Facebook at Reflective Bible Study, whether you're on YouTube at The Online Preacher, wherever you happen to be tuning in, whether it's one of those places somewhere else, whether this is on live as I'm talking or on replay, I want to thank you for tuning in. And if this passage has encouraged you or challenged you or reminded you of something, and you know of somebody who would benefit from it, then I would encourage and challenge you to share this video with them. And if I missed sharing something in this video, or you want to respond to something that I said, then jump into any one of the comment boxes, whether this is on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, or anywhere else. If there's a comment box, jump in and I If I was the one who shared it there, I'll be able to see it. And Periscope's live stream, the comment stream will end when the live stream ends, but I'll be able to see it, I just won't be able to respond. But whether you share this video or respond via chat, regardless of all of that, let's together keep our hearts and our minds and our eyes and our perspectives focused on Jesus, looking beyond the craziness of today's world and onto eternity, moving step by step towards Jesus and towards the day when He will return and bring us home to Him. And so with that said, thank you for tuning in, and I'll be back tomorrow morning with another insight from a gospel passage, a gospel event, as we together keep our hearts and our minds focused on Jesus. So thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you tomorrow.